syllabus for information technology. Myself, Professor Vibhavari Javle. Here we need to learn the computer basics. For that, we must learn the basic terms for that. So here are the basic terms we need to learn first. The first one, the data. Second one, information. Third one, information technology. Fourth one, ICT. And the last one, that means the computer itself. So in the last 2 or 3 lectures, we learned the definition of the data. So that means the data is the raw facts. So and it may be the text, the word, or the number also. For example, here I have mentioned the example. So that is the in the form of the data. So that means it is not the showing the particular meaningful information from that. Next term is nothing but the information. Information, it means the meaningful data uh, itself. So that means we have the bunch of data that is the actual representing the meaning from that. So that means it is known as the information. Information is the data formatted in a manner that allows it so to be used by the human beings in some meaningful way. For example, in that same manner, that example is now suitable to showing the information of the particular address of the person. Now I am going to explain the next term. It means the information technology. Information technology, it means the IT focuses all the technologies so that we use to make, to collect, to process, to protect and store the information. So that means it is known as the information technology. So for the sake of to make the data, to process on it, to store that information, we must require the technologies, and that technologies is known as information technology. It so that information technology refers to the hardware, software, and the network also. Now I'm going to explain the next term. It is known as ICT. ICT stands for Information and the uh, Communication Technologies. And here in that ICT includes the both internet and interconnected devices and the mobile also, and but mainly that ICT supported by the wireless technology. It means the Wi-Fi uh, is there, should be there. Now it breaks the long distance barrier, and for example the work from home, distance learning. So these are the example that comes from the ICT. Now the next one. Here, the second last the term from that is uh, is the computer itself. So that the first word computer, that is coming from the Latin word, its name is the computer, and it means to count, to calculate, or to sum up, or to think together. So that's the reason behind we name that device in the name of computer itself. And the mainly definition for the computer is an electronic device which accept the input from its user and processes it according to the instruction and gives the required desired output. It is known as the computer. And the next one, computer system, it means what? So, so when the terms come for the system, so that means it is not only the computer, so that is in there. We must require the system to do the various functions, okay, all together. So that means the computer it can process the the images, the data, audio, the video, and the graphics also. And so there are the five major operations we supposed to do on that uh, computer system. So that means the first one, the major from that major operation, the first thing is very important to get the data or the uh, instructions from the input devices. From that, we need to store the that information, and it can process that data as required by the user. And then, so when the processing of the data is done, then that device it can ready to give the uh, output while using the output devices. And the five major operation is it controls all the operations inside the computer system itself. So that means these are the five major operations. So those are equally important for the entire computer system. Now we need to learn the architecture of the computer. The first one we need to learn the input unit, then output, then the third one is CPU, that means the central processing unit. Okay, and we need to learn first the block diagram of the see in this diagram. So these three main parts are there. So these are uh, mainly subdivided into the three parts, the input devices, then the storage, that means the CPU is there, and the last one is the output devices. The firstly, the user gives the data, and that these input devices process that information and the data, separated the data and the instructions, and send it to the storage devices and the CPU also. And in that CPU, so the required operations are performed there, and the final the so that output is stored or uh, temporary stored in that output devices, and then we get the actual information from the data. So those are inserted from the user side. Now we need to learn about the input unit. Inputs are basically means the getting the data into the computer to be processed. So that means the data so that need to be processed, so that is need to be go through the input devices. So there are the many input devices over here. There is the keyboard, mouse, trackball, touchpad, and the light pen, laser scanner, pointing stick, touch screen, and then barcode reader, scanner, microphone, and the joystick. So these are the names of the input device. To move for the output devices. So output devices are the basically means the writing the data out of the computer. Okay, so that means a monitor is here, printer is there, speakers are there, then the headphones are there, then the modem, then fax. So these are the basically the examples of the of CPU. CPU. So there are the three parts. First one is ALU, that means arithmetical and logical unit, and second one is nothing but the control unit. Third one is a memory. First one, we need to learn about the arithmetic and the logical unit, that means the ALU. It does the mathematical calculations such as addition, subtraction, multiplication, and the uh, revision itself. Also perform the logical operations for the comparison of the data.